Dear Patriots, before the news starts, please subscribe to our patriotic channel by clicking the subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up to this video. Don't forget to leave your opinion below in the comments section. Share the news on Facebook and Twitter so you friends see it. Thank you.
All men, all white. Michelle Obama says what we need to get rid of in order to solve all our problems. Michelle Obama spoke at the Pennsylvania Conference for Women and said some pretty disgusting things about white men. She blamed them for nearly all of society's problems. I've done a lot of conversations over the past several months, and a lot of questions I get from X organization or X industry is, we are working on diversity. What do you recommend we do? And the first thing I recommend is that you make sure that the problem-solving table is diverse, said Michelle. But of course, like all liberals, she just means skin color diversity, not intellectual diversity. She went on to describe how she sat in Congress and felt very disappointed by seeing a lot of white men. And claimed that's where all our problems come from. On one side of the room it's literally gray and white. Literally. That's the color palette on one side of the room. On the other side of the room, there are yellows and blues and whites and greens. Physically there's a difference in color and the tone, because one side, all men, all white. On the other side, some women, some people of color, said Michelle. And wherever I was sitting, I would always have a guest in that booth, and I was always the most embarrassed at the beginning when people would see that, because I'd say, is it just me? Am I looking at how governance works? And people look down at that and go, yeah, that looks good. That looks right. We're probably getting a lot done, and we're doing it right. I look at that and I go, no wonder. No wonder we struggle. No wonder people don't trust politics. It's not, we're not even noticing what these rooms look like, she said. Michael Moore releases plan to repeal the ancient and outdated Second Amendment. The majority of liberals don't like to admit that they want to ban the Second Amendment completely. Normally they will say that they want some common sense restrictions. However, Michael Moore just went there. He outlined a new amendment to the Constitution and insists we would get rid of the Second Amendment entirely. My proposal to repeal the Second Amendment and replace it with this proposed 28th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, a well-regulated state National Guard, being helpful to the safety and security of a state in times of need, along with a strictly regulated right of the people to keep and bear a limited number of non-automatic arms for sport and hunting, with respect to the primary right of all people to be free from gun violence, this shall not be infringed, wrote Moore on his Facebook page. He wasn't done. He listed a set of gun restrictions he thinks are necessary. They're completely ridiculous. As over 90% of gun violence is committed by men, in order for a man to purchase a gun, he must first get a waiver from his current wife, plus his most recent ex-wife, or any woman with whom he is currently in a relationship. If he's gay, he must get the waiver from his male spouse/partner. This law has greatly reduced most spousal, domestic gun murders in Canada, wrote Moore. To activate a gun for it to be used, the trigger must recognize the fingerprint of its registered owner. This will eliminate most crimes committed with a gun, as 80% of these crimes are done with a stolen gun, he wrote. Read his long list of demands here. Judge Napolitano exposes the truth of why Las Vegas the shooter is not a terrorist. Liberals are pissed. Ever since the shooting at Las Vegas, liberals have been eager to call this a white terrorist attack. Why? Because then they can claim that white people are just as bad as Muslims and justify letting millions of refugees into our country. For example, Vox wrote an article called "White American Men Are a Bigger Domestic Terrorist Threat Than Muslim Foreigners." The article claims that white people in America kill more people than Muslims do in America. However, there are currently 235 million white people and 3 million Muslims here. Proportionally, Muslims kill way more than white people. Liberals are now calling conservatives racist for not calling the Vegas shooting a terrorist attack. Judge Napolitano describes perfectly why this attack is not a terrorist attack. Congress enacted the Anti-Terrorism Act, which said that terrorism is two or more acts of violence done in order to affect the policy of the government, that is, for political reasons, explained Napolitano on Fox. Had he survived this, had he not killed himself, had the SWAT team captured him, he would have been subject to the death penalty because there is a death penalty in Nevada, explained Napolitano. But to call it a terrorist attack, you would have to show the political motive. Napolitano also discussed how the shooter altered his guns. Any person familiar with a gun would know how to change it. But the act of changing it is a felony. So at the time he bought it, it was legal. At the time he used it, it was criminal, he said. Lindsey Graham thanks illegals for bringing their children. You'll make America a better place. Republican Lindsey Graham is doing everything he can to help out and congratulate illegals. He made a speech thanking them for coming here. So here's how this movie ends: "Your dream is going to come true," said Graham. "All of you are going to have certainty in your lives. You're going to get a chance to go out there and live that dream, and you'll make America a better place," he said. Graham recently introduced the DREAM Act of 2017 that would legalize over 780,000 young illegal aliens brought here by their parents. Lindsey Graham is starting to sound just like Nancy Pelosi, who also thanked illegals for being here. "Our dreamers, they make America dream again," Pelosi said during a CNN town hall. "They're so lovely. We, frankly, owe a debt to your parents for bringing you here to be such a brilliant part of our future. That's what America is all about," said Pelosi. "We owe them?" During that same town hall meeting, Pelosi pushed background checks for gun owners. But not for coming into our country. Background checks would save lives. But it isn't the complete answer. We'd have to do many other things as well. And people have to be vigilant. We don't want people reporting on each other. We respect people's, not only Second Amendment rights, but their Fourth Amendment rights, but something must have been obvious to someone about this along the way, she said. Bruce Springsteen reveals why he refuses to write an anti-Trump diatribe. Liberals are pissed. More and more Hollywood celebrities are coming out and saying disgusting and disrespectful things about our president. But famous singer, songwriter Bruce Springsteen is not going to say anything disrespectful towards our president. His reason why is amazing. First, he was asked if he would ever run for governor of his home state of New Jersey. PSSHT, no. I would have no business in politics. I'm just not interested in policymaking enough. I know people in entertainment who are interested in those things, but I'm a musician, said Springsteen. He was then asked why he didn't come out in support of Hillary Clinton's campaign earlier. I don't think I'm necessarily that essential a factor. And I still tend to be a little bit ambivalent about getting involved directly like that in political campaigns, responded Springsteen. I've done it when I felt it was really necessary and that maybe my 2 cents might make some small bit of difference. But the more you do it, your 2 cents becomes 1 cent and then no sense whatsoever, so I think your credibility and your impact lessens the more you do it. So I've been hesitant to overplay my hand in that area, and I generally come to service when I feel it's kind of necessary and it might help a little bit, he said. He then talked about his new album. It's not topical at all. Topical writing at the moment doesn't hold a lot of interest to me. I really got out a lot of what I had to say in that vein on Wrecking Ball. I'm not driven to write any anti-Trump diatribe, that doesn't feel necessary at the moment, he said. Jesse Waters goes full force against kneelers disrespecting the brave cops in Las Vegas. Jesse Waters went full force against the people who are still disrespecting our country, even after police showed incredible bravery during the Las Vegas shooting. I think the American spirit always rises to the challenge when you have a tragedy like this. However much blood is spilled, 2 times as much blood is donated, started Waters. However many people died, 4 times as many people are being saved in our hospital by doctors. Right now, friends helped friends to safety, people helped strangers to safety, and law enforcement was running towards the bullets, he continued. So all those kneelers in the NFL out there, they need to recognize when they're kneeling during the anthem, they're kneeling, and we're supposed to be honoring law enforcement that's trying to save lives, not take lives. So I hope next Sunday when the anthem is played, people do kneel out of respect to law enforcement, said Waters. Right now a lot of stuff looks really small when people are making politics over San Juan. There was a congressman that was trying to impeach the president today. SNL called the president I think a cheap cracker, he said. That has to stop. And people have to choose the side of good over evil, 'cause I think evil's always going to lose to good, said Waters. Do you think he's right?